In the kitchen with me now is an old friend, wonderful lady. She and her mom were regulars at our book club meetings, and just got an email recently that she has written a new cookbook. I'm like, well, you have to come on the show to talk about it. This is Becky Ingham. Good morning. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
The cookbook is called Creative Kidney Cooking for the Whole Family. And before we get cooking, we're going to talk a little bit about your story, Becky, because you've got quite a story to tell. So let's start when you were little, basically.
It started when I was 12 years old. I developed flu-like symptoms that just wouldn't go away. Kept going to the doctor. They kept thinking viral. At probably about 3 months later, I was presented with a rash on my body that was kind of a purple petechiae, which allowed them to diagnose me with Henoch-Schönlein purpura, HSP. It went pretty fast, attacked my kidneys. They started to do aggressive therapy with high-dose steroids, chemotoxins to try to stop the war, but no luck, so they just let my kidneys fail. So I had to go on dialysis. Stayed on dialysis for 3 years, was transplanted, but unfortunately after 6 years my transplanted kidney failed and I had to go back on dialysis and was again transplanted 2 years later.
So now it's been 10 years.
10 years.
Doing great.
Doing wonderful.
Married, have the cutest little boy ever. She actually brings him to book club and he's very well behaved.
Thank you.
And then your passion is sharing your story. You're a registered dietitian.
Correct.
And you know, it's tough when I can't imagine everything that's going on during kidney failure and dialysis, and on top of it all, you've got to watch what you're eating, which is one more thing. You know?
Right. The renal diet is extremely complex, and that's where I thought I would work on writing a cookbook as a registered dietitian and a renal patient myself. I get that it's very hard to come up with ideas to eat when you're on dialysis or in renal failure because it's just so complex, and compliance rates are hard for patients to stay compliant with the diet. So my purpose was to take the guesswork out of eating for renal patients and design a cookbook that they can just go to town and eat.
And there's lots of great recipes in there for kidney patients or just families. So we're going to make one of the recipes out of the cookbook, and it's a cool, light, refreshing dessert, the layered strawberry banana dessert, and I like it because it's really easy too. So,
me too.
All right, let's put me to work here.
Okay, so the first step I always like to do overnight because the pudding has to set, so I do it the night before, and it's super easy. Taking a 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk.
And I'm all about easy, all right.
And you're going to mix that with an electric mixer.
Okay.
With a cup and a half of cold water.
Okay.
And you're just going to mix it until it's well blended to get rid of that thick consistency of the sweetened condensed milk.
And I love this, like you say, because it's a make-ahead, so if you've got guests coming, get
You can also slice your strawberries the night before, which makes it nice and easy when you're throwing your trifle together.
Sure, you betcha.
So just mix that for about a minute
until
it's fully mixed.
And now we've got our pudding.
Yep, and then we're going to go ahead and add a 3.4-ounce package of banana-flavored pudding. And when you're on a dialysis or following a renal diet, you can't have a lot of potassium, so the banana pudding gives you that banana flavor without the added potassium as a real banana would. So you can just mix that in and just kind of beat that for about 2 minutes until the pudding is fully mixed to get rid of any gritty mouthfeel that the pudding would leave until it starts to thicken.
This starts to thicken, and then we get it in the refrigerator, and we've got some over there.
Yes. So I have one that we started last night.
Okay.
Next step you would do you have another bowl?
I sure do. Okay. So this is the pudding, and
this is the condensed milk, water, and pudding.
Okay.
Just that it sat overnight.
Okay.
And you're going to fold that in with 3 cups of non-dairy whipped topping.
Okay. So it becomes almost like a banana mousse.
Yes. Just kind of fold
do a
it
lot of trifles like that, and it's amazing how the pudding and the cooler together. It's a whole different combination.
It's just a real light.
Yeah. So we've got again, we're using a trifle bowl or a pretty glass bowl, and we've got some vanilla wafers here. We're going to crush a handful of them, but then we've got some others that we're going to start layering. Is that how that works?
Yep.
Okay.
You want me to start doing that?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
And then about 4 cups of sliced strawberries. Okay.
So you're just going to take your wafers, layer them on the bottom, keeping in mind that you're going to do this about 3 times, so you want to do about 1/3 of the recipe.
Okay. Each time. So I've got the pudding mixture here when you're ready.
Okay.
A little bit.
Some more in there. You can go ahead and add some strawberries.
I love the combination of banana and strawberry. Yum, that's a good one. Now, for people who want to get a hold of your cookbook, you have a website.
I do. It's www.creativekidneycooking.com.
Okay.
And you can order it right on there via PayPal or credit card, or I think I have Google Merchant on there as well.
Wonderful.
You can go ahead and add some of that.
Uh-huh. And then more of the cookies.
Some more cookies.
This is easy. You can even get the kids in the kitchen to help with this one. Is Ethan cooking yet?
He loves to help with stuff like that. In fact, he was a little disappointed this morning that he couldn't eat the trifle.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. You know, when you start them young, something like this, they can be counting the cookies and, you know, helping measure. And I always say, if you don't get the kids in the kitchen to cook, they're never going to learn how.
That's exactly
So,
it. He loves to help.
and more of the pudding.
More pudding.
And this needs to sit up in the refrigerator a little bit too, because
This will set for 4 to 8 hours before serving.
so that we want to soften those cookies and they become kind of like cake-like.
Correct.
Wonderful. And we've got one, we'll just keep assembling this one, but we've got one right here that's already done, and we finish it with some crushed vanilla wafers, some strawberries in the middle, and whole vanilla wafers on the top, which really make it pretty. And you look like a rock star, don't you? I love that. Bring that to the cookout, and everyone will be happy. Rebecca, so good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank
Hope
you,
to
Amy.
see your mom and you at the next book club.
Fabulous.
Go to our website. You can find out when our next book club meeting is, and good luck with the book. And
Thank
so
you.
glad you're doing well.
Thank you.
Great to see you. We'll be right back to wrap things up, so stay with us.